All right, this is the Algebra 2, Unit 1, Lesson 5 video. This is going to be a video that focuses on how to graph the types of equations that we did in Lesson 4. The first type of graph is going to be a basic number line graph. And so I'm going to just do some quick basics about that and talk about how you're going to do this. So if I'm working on a problem and I get a final kind of answer of x is less than 4. I'm going to go graph this on the number line. Now, obviously, there's some key things that we need to know when we're doing this. The first thing is what this symbol means in terms of what it looks like down here on our number line. So we're going to talk through that first, and I'm going to just kind of graph the different versions of this symbol. So in other words, we'll start with the one I just did. What about x is greater than 4? Okay, x is greater than 4. Well, the first thing you need to know is that symbols that are like this and this are graphed on the number line with an open circle. And ones that are like this or like this are graphed with a closed circle. I can make that happen. Yes. Additionally, quite simply, the direction of this arrow, the direction of the arrowhead here, or this symbol, the way it's pointing tells you which way to shade. So in other words, if I'm looking at this, sorry about that. Let's go back. There we go. If I'm looking at this one, it tells me to shade in this direction on the number line. If I have this symbol here, I'm obviously shading this direction on the number line. So the two things that you need to know is that the inequality symbol points the direction that you need to be shading, and the type of symbol shows you what the dot looks like. Is it an open dot or is it a closed dot? Okay, so this is kind of the key information. I will post a little thing in the notes about that in case you need a refresher. So let's erase all that. And let's just do a couple of quick examples. Again, let's go back to what we had. We had x is greater than 4. Well, this tells me I'm going to have an open circle at 4 and that my shading is going to go in this direction over here. So I'm just going to shade my number line like that and my arrow. And so that would be the solution to this inequality symbol. Okay, let's do another one real quick. I'll use a different color and leave these both on the board. Let's say I had x is less than or equal to -6. Okay, so first of all, it's going to be a closed circle because of the line underneath the inequality symbol. So I'm going to do a little colored circle right here for -6. And then I'm going to shade in that direction because this little arrow is pointing this way. So I shade that, and that would be the graph for x is less than or equal to -6. So hopefully this is helpful. You are going to be doing work before you get to this point. Let me show you what I mean. On the inequalities, they're going to start you with equations like the ones we worked out in the last unit. So what you need to do here is you need to take each one of these and make them look like a simple inequality symbol. Whatever that is, you need to go ahead and work that out. So you need to work each one of them out until they look like the examples I was just doing here. They need to look like one of these. So you need to keep that in mind as you do this. So you have to do that, which is basically what we did in the last lesson. You have to do that for each one of these until you find the one that matches the graph up here. Which one of these goes with that graph? Same thing in number 2. Number 2, you need to take each of these inequalities, you need to work them out, and then see which one matches the graph. So again, you already know how to do that because we did that in the last lesson, lesson 4. Okay, now the next two questions are going to look at linear equations of inequalities. Suddenly, they've kind of thrown this at us, but suddenly we have equations where there's x's and y's. And hopefully you remember a little bit about this, But I'm going to take us to the graphing method and use the Desmos graphing system to make this as easy as possible. I'll post a link in the video description, but let's talk about how we're going to do this. So you'll notice they give us a graph and they give us some answer choices down here. So we need to know which of these graphs is going to make the graph that we see. Oops, sorry about that. The graph we see here in number 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to recreate this graph in Desmos using these equations that I have right here. So for instance, the first option, 3x minus 2y equals 6. Let's go over to Desmos. In my first line, 3x minus 2y equals 6. Okay, move my video here. So let's look at these two. I can see here I need to have a point at 2, 0, and 0, negative 3. Also, I can see the general shape of the line. And actually, what's really nice is that it looks like this is the correct graph because I see it crosses at the same 2 points, 2, 0, and 0, negative 3. And if I click these points on Desmos, they will actually appear and stay. So this actually does match. So you've just gotten the answer to number 3. If that had not matched, I would have needed to continue moving down and finding the correct graph based on what I see on the Desmos side. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Now this is different. Now suddenly I have shading, this blue shading. Well, the nice thing is that Desmos will do this for you. So let's erase this, and I will show you. These symbols are on the little keyboard down here for you to use. So we're going to do the first one, 4x minus 2y. 4x minus 2y is less than negative 8. Is less than, so I choose this symbol, negative 8. Okay, so now I have the graph. I'm looking for these points, 3, 0, and 0, negative 4. And I can see, oh, that those don't match. I have 0, 4, and negative 2, 0. So these 2 points don't match. The shading is in the right place, but the line itself doesn't match. Also, notice Desmos will show you a line that is dashed. You might be thinking, well, what's the difference there? And I'll go ahead and show you real briefly. You should note that if I graph this with the symbol that has the line underneath it, the line is solid. So I'll post this in the description, but you need to know that symbols that have the inequality without the bar underneath it have a dashed line, and inequalities that have a solid line underneath the symbol have a solid line in the graph. Again, this is all review from Algebra 1, so I know I'm going quickly through some of those details, but I will post information and resources for you on the Google Classroom and on the notes page. So I will post information about the lines of inequalities and what they look like. So clearly, this is not the correct graph. So what you need to do to finish is you need to continue graphing these until you find the one that matches the graph you have in question number 4. And that is the end of the lesson 5.